All right, guys, video on the backswing today. Been looking forward to this one. Before we get started, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and press that subscribe button. There's a bell button next door. Click on that. You get a notification every time I release a new video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Andrew Emery. We are going to box it up, guys. Box it up. That's what this lesson is all about, okay? You need a destination at the top of the backswing. You need a sequence in the backswing. Everyone talks about the kinematic sequence in terms of from the top of the backswing to impact. Not many people talking about the sequence in the backswing, and believe you me, there is a good sequence. So when we talk about the backswing, we've got verticals and we've got horizontals. The body essentially is responsible for a lot of the horizontals. I'm not talking about level with the ground, guys, but I'm talking about the body sort of transporting the arms around you and sort of above your trail shoulder. It's a rotary motion. There's no question about that. The wrists and arms control sort of the up and down motion of the golf swing. And what we're talking about with golf is we're talking about blending the ups and downs with the horizontals. The club works up, the body turns. That's what gets the club into a decent orbit at the top of the backswing. If you've got too much vertical in your backswing, if your hands and arms work up and down with no turn, you're going to pick the club up. You're going to be too steep. If you've got too many horizontals, generally speaking, the club's going to drag around the corner. See a lot of people working on a one-piece takeaway, for example, or they're trying to create a lot of width in the backswing, and that causes a lot of problems, especially with recreational golfers. Golfers that are much more dynamic in their golf swings, of course, that can work particularly well. But a lot of this stuff gets sort of misconstrued, and it actually makes people worse and not better. So if this is you, pay attention. One-piece takeaway for about 6 inches to a foot behind the golf ball, okay? That's where it ends. For those of you that think you've got to sort of keep everything together as you take the club away and you get all the way back here and you're in this position where you're more than halfway into your turn and the golf club is still down, you know, underneath waist high, you've got absolutely no chance. I mean, that is really problematic. And the reason it's problematic, guys, is that your body's meeting its destination too early, okay? And then the hands and arms, of course, are going to have to meet their destination too late. You are out of sequence with the best intention in the world. How about that? So if you've got a swing that you kind of have this runoff at the top of your backswing, you've always wondered why you get very narrow and pinched and sort of triangulated, not boxed up, but triangulated. The irony and the cruelty of this game, right, is that you're trying to get wide because you get narrow and you wind up even more narrow. It just doesn't improve. It doesn't make it any better, okay? I mean, if you're really, really one-piecey on the move away and the club head's out here and you want to have a nice short, wide backswing, you can't hit the ball from here. You don't have any leverage. So, of course, the club's going to collapse behind you. So we need to understand that the club head needs to move pretty quickly in the backswing, okay? It starts off together, no question. It's a good idea to sort of have everything sort of moving together. I don't want you whipping it inside or picking it up. That's not what I'm talking about. But it doesn't really stay one piece for very, very long, all right? I'm going to take this golf club back to my trail foot. That's about a foot, maybe 18 inches behind the golf ball. That's where it ends for me. So you can see I'm going to here. That keeps the golf club in front of me. That's a pretty good start. Now from here, here's the challenge. This is where most of you go wrong. You keep the club head down, all right? And then you continue to turn. And then what happens is the club's got no place to go but around the corner. So what you're doing is you're getting too flat too soon. And then what we've got to do is lift, and most likely you're going to come over the top. So once you get that club head sort of up to your trail toe here, it's really imperative that we start to sort of push down on the handle and get the club head working up, okay? We've essentially got to hinge our wrist. It's what we call radial deviation, okay? The wrist basically needs to work up, okay? So gripping it in the fingers allows that. In the palm, very, very difficult. So make sure you grip the club across your fingers, guys. That's what's going to allow this to transpire. So I'm looking basically to form an L to the side of me when my left arm is parallel to the ground. That's going to be absolutely essential. So if you look at it from face on here, I'm together to about here. You see everything's kind of moving very much together. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start to push down on the handle and get that club head working up and moving faster than my turn. The club head is moving up faster than my turn. I want you to understand that, okay? The club is not moving at the same speed as my turn. That is an absolute misconception. You don't want to go there, okay? So this is what I'm looking for right here. Can you see that? So what I've got here is my left arm's parallel with the ground. I'm forming an L here between my shaft of my golf club and my lead arm. I'm going to give you a good angle here. I'm going to turn the other way and then go ahead and just show you what this looks like from down the line. So there's my sort of move, as you would call it, a one-piece takeaway. It's only really happening for maybe a foot or 18 inches behind the golf ball here, okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to accelerate the club head, work the club up, and you start to see my right arm is much softer than most of you. You guys that are all working on trying to create width here, that is a huge mistake. This right arm should be soft, moving almost around your rib cage. We almost want to feel like the right arm initially, not late in the swing, but initially is moving somewhat internally. It helps us stay connected. It helps us keep our arms working around our body early. Can you see this? And then that club starts to hinge. And you can see if I do this, I'm starting to create some pretty good structure with my right arm. My bicep, my forearm, and the shaft are starting to form a box. How about that? When that lead arm is parallel. And the beauty of this is, all I've got to do to the top of the backswing here is just elevate my arms a little bit, okay? And I'm in a position here where I can allow my arms to work down in front of me freely and uninhibited. Remember, the backswing is nothing more than a delivery mechanism. That's all it is, okay? So if we can get our golf club in a position here that's simple, on plane, with a decent club face, our ability to deliver the club consistently over a long period of time is going to increase. That's really what this golf lesson is all about, guys, all right? But the key here is to understand the sooner we can establish this angle, okay, where we're on plane, the right arm's soft, I'm creating some shape with my right arm here, the easier it is to play golf, all right? So let's talk about swing plane for a second. A lot of confusion surrounding swing plane. This is my target line. I'm going to put this kind of on the golf ball. I'm going to go ahead and grab this guy right here, about a 45-degree angle or so, depending on obviously what club we have. And we'll go ahead and set up to it here. All right, good stuff, all right? So that's where the golf ball is going to be sitting right there. That's my target line. Let's get into a good posture and let's talk about this, all right? So we're basically going to get that club matched up pretty nicely to our plane line here. So if I drag it around the corner, of course, you can see this right here. Can you see how the club gets way inside and underneath the plane? I've got my hands above the plane. I've got the club head on the other side of it. What we want to do here is get those wrists hinging, all right? So you can see here when I hinge my wrists, I've got a pretty good matchup to the plane line, all right? So I've got the butt end of the golf club essentially pointing at my target line. That needs to be your goal, guys, okay? My right elbow, as I mentioned, is soft, working around my rib cage a little bit, and then my elbow starts to fold, all right? And my right elbow at this point here is pointing down. A lot of you get that right elbow working up. Causes the club face to open, causes to get into a very, very steep position. I might stand here and do one arm only. Right arm only is a really good one, where I take my left hand, my lead hand, I put it on my trail bicep here, okay? And then I do some little swings with right hand only. Look how, guys, I'm getting the club head swinging very freely. So all I'm feeling here is my trail wrist kind of hinging back on itself a little bit, starting to leverage the golf club. Then I'm going to allow my trail arm to fold. And then I'm going to go ahead and get that golf club upside down, okay? It is completely upside down from where it started, in balance and on plane, all right? So that's a really good position there. Now, top of the backswing, guys, all I'm going to do is wind a little bit more, and I'm ready to go the other way. That's the beauty of this, okay? Remember, if the finish line is right here at the top, we want the club head, the hands, the arms, the body to get to the finish line pretty much in a dead heat. All right, we want everything to get to its destination at the same time. That's the challenge. If we want everything to get to the finish line at the same time, the club head has the furthest to travel. All right, so think about those runners, 1 through 4. All right, in lane 1, we've got the body. All right, in lane 2, we've got the arms. In lane 3, we have the wrists. In lane 4, we have the club head. The body is starting at the 50-meter line. The club head is starting right at the start line, 50 meters behind. You think about it for a minute. The body only has to move from here to here, all right, 50 meters. Look at the club head. It's got to travel 100 meters, okay? So obviously, if our runners are all going to meet their destination at the finish line at the same time, then the club head needs to be running the fastest. Make sense? So I've got to get this club head moving faster. I may start forward and then go back. My club head's now caught up with my body. That's what I'm looking to do, all right? So be very, very careful with the idea that we want to be wide or we want to create width. If you start to take that to an extreme, guys, you're going to have your arms complete the top of your backswing. You're going to get very triangulated and pinched and narrow. And then you're going to have to throw the club to get it anywhere close to impact. It'll be really, really difficult, all right? Let's go ahead and hit one. Let's start our race here. All right, club head moves first. Pushing down on the handle, okay? Wrists are next, then arms, and then body. So again, my lead arm is parallel to the ground. The club head's traveled the furthest. I'm basically fully completed here in terms of wrist and arms. I'm halfway into my turn, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to transport everything to the top with a little extra rotation. That's what gets me to the top of the backswing. All right, little half swing here, on plane. We're off to the races. Set it on plane. We'll go the other way. Really, really good. Notice I stopped at the top of the backswing, guys. Don't be afraid to stop. If you've got a mirror, use a mirror. If you've got a video, use the video. We're looking for the butt end of the club, guys, to be somewhere near our target line. Maybe a little inside, a little outside's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we don't want to be too extreme. Okay, we don't want to be dragging the club around the corner, all turn, no verticals. We don't want to be picking the club, all verticals, no turn. That's completely the opposite. That's not going to work. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. Get the club head moving faster. Lead arm parallel, golf clubs on plane. Stop at the top. Good. Really good. So I've got those on a frozen rope because my club face is square and the golf club's on plane. Really, really important to understand that. Now, a couple of quick drills here. Really, really good drills. We do a split-handed drill. I love the split-handed drill. Just take your hands, move them maybe 3 or 4 inches apart on the golf club. What I want you to do, guys, I want you to hinge your wrists, okay? Push down on the handle with your left hand, pull up with your right hand. Keep your hands at the same height, okay? Don't lift with your arms. So all you're going to do here, back up a little bit, is this right here, where you get the club kind of parallel to the ground. Then what I want you to do is I want you to twist the club to the right. That's my rotation. So I'm starting to get a little rotation in my forearms as well. So I hinge, all right, and then I twist, all right? And then from here, you'll notice that all I've got to do is start to make a little bit of a turn, and my right arm starts to fold, and I'm starting to create a little bit of a box out to the side of me. So it's a wonderful drill for feeling the ups and downs in the golf swing, essentially. So down the line, it's going to look something like this. So we split the hands, push down on the handle, parallel to the ground, rotate it so it's pointing down the target line. Make sure the toe of the club, guys, isn't wide open, pointing behind you. You want it straight up or even perhaps pitched forward a little bit, ideally. Kind of parallel to your spine angle would be ideal. And then what we want to do here is just make a little turn and set the golf club onto your target line, all right? And then do the same thing with a regular grip starting down here. Try and blend the hinge, the rotation, set the club to the same position, and then you're off to the races. You can go ahead and hit it, all right? So for me, when I get to the top of my backswing, I initially like to do what we call stop drills. So I like to get to the top of my backswing, blend the verticals with the horizontals. There's my box at the top of the backswing. There's no triangulation there. I like to stop because when I stop at the top of the backswing, I feel. When I feel my golf swing, I own my golf swing, okay? So ultimately, the way you train and the way you practice is going to have a heck of a lot to do with you developing any type of new pattern. If you're used to running the club off behind you and not hinging early enough, Obviously, the challenge here is to take the club back at a speed that you can feel. So effective practice isn't really talked about very much, but I always tell my students, you want to swing slowly initially to get a feel for what the club is doing, and then you definitely want to do drills where you stop at the top of the backswing, turn around, check, and feel before you do full swings, full speed, okay? That's pretty good advice. So if I go ahead and do the first drill, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the top, make sure I'm pushing down on the handle. You can see my club head's, getting a head start here. Set the club on plane, okay? And then I'll do the same thing, set it on plane. There we go, and then just hit it, all right? So you can see I did a little stop to feel that. All right, now if I want to do the full swing, I'm going to go through the same sequence with the L position, set it on plane, and then what I'm going to do is just wind my body a little bit more. That way my hands start to work up above my trail shoulder. You're looking to essentially get your hands somewhere above your ankles, okay, ideally. If a little behind is okay, a little bit in front is okay, but we don't want to get too vertical with the left arm, and we don't want to get too flat with the left arm. Somewhere near perpendicular to the spine at the top of the backswing, maybe slightly above is ideal. So all I'm going to do, guys, and this is the beauty of this, is I'm just going to wind just a little bit more from here. I'm going to wind to get to the top. Now I got everything pretty much in position at the top of my backswing. I've got it nicely boxed up. Can you see that? No triangle, nice and wide, all right? Let's go ahead and do the same thing. Full swing this time. Club head moves first, up it goes, there's the hinge, top, and then go ahead and swing through. So effective training is going to be incredibly important, guys. You're not going to make any significant changes to your swing unless you swing at a speed that allows you to feel what it is that you're doing. Any good coach is going to tell you that, all right? But I really want you to focus on the sequence of the backswing as much as anything else. Club head has to move faster. That reference point where the lead arm is parallel and the club is upside down and an L to the side of you is probably the most important position in golf. All right, once you get to there, it's very hard to mess up your backswing. If you're out of balance and really struggling to that position, it makes it very, very difficult. All right, guys, so make sure that you're boxing it up at the top of your backswing. I don't want to see any triangles out there, okay? You get narrow and pinched. You understand why you're narrow and pinched. What's happening down here affects what's happening up here. I'll pretty much guarantee it. Get after it, guys. Have fun. We'll talk to you next time.